Coming up tonight, it's the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television, a full review of TNA's Bound for Glory on pay-per-view. We talk about Raw and Impact from this week, your viewer mails, Fan of the Week, the Cos 5, 10 Best, and so much more. This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime for Friday, October 15, 2010.
And now, celebrating 13 years on the air, this is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time with David Hero, Frank Cosentino, Linda Kay, the man they call Meathead, and Damian Nelson. All the latest from World Wrestling Entertainment, total nonstop action wrestling, and more. This is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time.
Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime, Friday, October 15, 2010. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Octavius, the Tiberius, the Popalicious Hero.
Daddy!
It finally happened. The main event, the WrestleMania.
No. The headlining main event finally happened for the Pope, because he got to talk to me.
Not 24 hours ago, we had the Pope on the program along with Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash, explosive as usual. The Pope, very insightful, actually. I think he went easy on you.
You know what was amazing about the Pope, baby? Is that how much he knew about DHHS. I mean, he knew all
when
about
you steal
it.
his gimmick, you know.
I didn't
You
steal
got to
it.
send him a t-shirt.
I improved it.
A lot to talk about this week, and as we were just talking about, if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out last night's very, very intriguing Pro Wrestling Report
Controversial,
ESPN
would
radio
you say?
show. As always,
Top rated?
As always, you can get that on demand at pwrshow.com, Blog Talk Radio, and you can actually pick up the interview with the Pope on the ESPNMilwaukee.com podcast section of their website as well.
Does ESPNMilwaukee.com realize we have now put them on the map with that interview?
Let's talk about TNA's Bound for Glory from this past Sunday night on pay-per-view. David Hero. This pay-per-view built a lot of intrigue for TNA and a lot of people talking about the big news of the show, which was the revelation of who they were. And they was Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Jeff Jarrett, Abyss, and the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Jeff Hardy. You didn't know it. I didn't know it. The humanoids didn't know it. TNA got us all.
I had no idea Jeff Hardy was going to leave champion. We had a pretty good idea about they, wouldn't you say, brother?
I think over the course of the last 2 months, you have put everybody who was in they in some type of categorization of potentially being they. So it worked out.
It proved itself. Right?
Yes.
And wait. I believe that was a DHHS moment,
I
wasn't
think it got stamped. Yeah,
It was
I think so.
stamped. Can't beat that.
Jeff Hardy going bad, turning heel. Jeff Hardy winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship earlier in the night. The matchup featuring Sting, Jeff Jarrett, Samoa Joe, Kevin Nash, and the Pope. Jeff Jarrett walking out on his partner, Samoa Joe, and it became obvious at that point that Jeff Jarrett was going to have something to do with this they. But going into the show, everyone being told or being sold on the fact that Hogan had no chance in hell of making it to Daytona Beach, Florida for that event because of his back surgeries and his excruciating pain, and a surgery as recent as Friday or Saturday of last weekend. TNA worked this and worked it well for Bound for Glory.
Everyone that I've talked to in TNA that was in the back,
Including the Pope?
including the Pope baby, was that Hogan was in excruciating pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that they can't believe he was there and showed up. That's a lot of leg drops, brother.
He was there, he showed up, and one thing we realized on our live Impact wrap-up post-show on Thursday night was, it was actually a caller, I believe his name was Dan, saying that, reminding us or showing us that Bound for Glory was going to be held in the same venue as Bash at the Beach in 1996, where the NWO was formed.
You really think that they put that much thought into where?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, we got an email from Steven, who was there at Bound for Glory Live, sitting somewhere near Dixie Carter, and heard her give the go-ahead for people to start throwing stuff into the ring. And it was the first people that threw the stuff into the ring were from her private catering section that was set up on the arena floor.
Well, I bet you were frustrated about that, weren't you?
Well, she told me to throw it, so I didn't have a choice.
So you really think TNA planned the pay-per-view building around this angle?
I don't think they actually, possibly.
Come on. That's more thought into the building than into most of the show.
I think. Now, it could have been just a lucky coincidence. Either way, it worked out perfectly.
Either way, they worked out.
Either way, they worked out perfectly. At that point, you knew it was sort of going to be Hogan, and you knew it was something. They tried to do something revolutionary for the business.
You knew when Hogan walked down that ramp wearing the black Double H T-shirt or H to the second power, you knew he was healing. But didn't Bischoff look kind of silly?
How so?
Just with the chair, it's like, okay.
Why did he bring a chair down?
Well, he wanted to hit somebody.
But nobody was out. Nobody was down. There was
were.
no opportunity.
Kurt Angle was down. Jeff Hardy was down.
Really? I thought they were both standing by
Ken
the time he got in the
Anderson
ring.
was down.
All right.
You know, we need to get this show. We got to beat out on the scene in a few hours.
We do, actually. But continue talking about TNA's Bound for Glory. Did they play it out as well as they could have? Did it come off as a monumental event? Jeff Hardy turning heel, going bad for the first time ever. Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Jeff Jarrett, and Abyss turning on TNA. We learned on Impact last night what that all meant. Turning on TNA. Did this get delivered in a way that was not just believable, but in a way that built intrigue for subsequent TNA TV?
You know, when the handicap match was over and Jeff Jarrett just left,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, that's all they're going to give us? But then to come back in the main event, because everyone kind of figured they would appear during the handicap match.
Right.
Well, they didn't. They showed up in the main event. Headline, you know, Pope got screwed again, didn't he?
Well,
the main stuff happened in the headline.
You just
main
don't
event.
listen, do you?
I mean, don't listen.
You agreed with Pope last
I
night.
agreed being in a match with Hogan, but was Hogan in the match?
Wow, you are amazing.
Yes, I am.
You're something else. When's
I'm
the last
honest.
time you talked to Sean Hannity? Does he brief you before you come down to the
No,
studio?
nobody briefs me but myself. Okay, let's get that straight. Sick freak.
They did so good, I think, over the course of the evening, spelling it out, because they did leave it hanging after the Abyss matchup. But Abyss
That I didn't like.
still saying, though, after the match, blood coming from his mouth, they are still coming. They are taking over. They will still happen tonight. I thought that was an interesting...
And they proved wrestling was fake during that match.
He got hit in the stomach with nails. He was coughing up blood, David.
How? How?
He had internal bleeding. The blunt trauma of that board
But
coming into his
nothing came
midsection.
out.
It takes a while. Don't you watch Law and Order?
No, I don't.
Why can't you just... Did you enjoy the show? Did you enjoy
You know
Bound for
what?
Glory?
I'm still rather perplexed. I'm
Because only one of
confused.
your picks was right?
No, I had at least 2 picks right.
Two? Maybe.
I could care less about the picks. I'm just not too sure if I liked the show or not. I mean, there are some things I liked. Other things I couldn't stand. I thought the main event, the headlining main event, was fantastic.
The match,
The match.
not the after stuff.
No. The after stuff,
Did that match get crapped on? Nobody's talking about how great that match was between Hardy, Angle, and Anderson.
because the main angle was after the match.
Right. No, I've not heard one comment about that, how good that match was. I thought that was a good match.
I loved the double ankle lock by Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Thought that was tremendous.
Hash mark.
Hash mark in it. But it was a solid pay-per-view. The only thing I thought was weird is they never showed the hard camera side of the arena.
There wasn't many people over there.
You know?
What does that matter?
But it matters a lot. I liked the atmosphere of them being somewhere else.
You know, they...
The people, the wrestlers, the TNA superstars finally came across as being stars.
And I will give kudos to TNA on their overall production of the event. It did look special. Granted, they were out of the impact zone, but they didn't bring their normal truss and a couple of screens transplanted from the impact zone set. It looked...
And it was a
Looked
truly international feel.
Well, if you watched on DirecTV for the first few minutes, yeah.
It was in German.
Nine.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Are
9.
you kidding me?
9.
No, wait. Is that the next pay-per-view?
No, that means no.
Oh, okay.
That was the last good Video Music Awards, $99.99.
Yeah. I didn't watch
Or
that.
the last one I was able to relate to. So you haven't said though, good or bad.
I
You
liked
just-
it.
You can't.
No. I liked
You liked it, but
I just liked it. I have to watch it again. I do. Wow, did I just say that out loud? I gotta watch a TNA pay-per-view again? I do.
here's one way I typically gauge how popular or how good an event was. We do the live wrap-up show, the post show on Blog Talk Radio, and that particular episode, granted we've only been doing it since June on Blog Talk Radio, but that particular episode was our most listened to live show since we've been doing it on Blog Talk Radio, and subsequently it's been the most downloaded version of the pay-per-view post shows since we started those. It shows intrigue, or it shows people didn't order it because they didn't think they'd see anything, and now they're
They
wondering
wanted
what
to hear
happened.
us.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That YouTube, 20,000 people have watched that or listened to it on YouTube as well. So there's a lot of intrigue for this pay-per-view. But here's the thing: a lot of people say,
You know what? Hold on. You're not the first guy, or the last guy that's going to say, here's the thing. I believe your buddy, the Pope, here's the thing to do.
you tricked him into saying it.
I tricked him.
Into saying
What, Jedi mind trick? You will now say this?
it. Something
You know what?
happened.
Hold on. Before this goes any further,
Yeah.
Pope was great. I'm not going to lie. He was a lot of fun, a lot of good banter, funny haha.
In
knees
addition to you
slapping.
seeing the light a few weeks ago here in this program, I mean, the hatchet has been buried.
Yeah, for the most part. Well, I told him I could let him headline a Blizzard Brawl sometime.
Where was I when that was said? Because that's not quite the way I heard it.
No?
No.
Maybe I didn't say it like that.
Intrigue on the show. People were interested in the show. The thing is that so many people saying this is stupid. They did nothing new. This isn't revolutionary. Jeff Hardy is a heel. Why? He's just going to go to jail in a few weeks. It's
Really?
funny. Well, here's the thing.
That's perfect. It makes sense. You love street cred.
The interesting point about that is, all right, I'm going to say this because there's the WWE high horse, and there's TNA, as Pope said, the little engine that is.
Yeah, that is.
And there are those of you out there who, no matter what TNA does, can't find any good in it. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't with this particular pay-per-view or this particular situation with Jeff Hardy, but I think that it's difficult to not admit that TNA did something that has people talking, including those of you who are disagreeing with the way it came off and disagreeing with the overall effectiveness of who they were. Now, the only way this is going to work long term, in my opinion, is if they are used to build them. And we're going to have Kurt Angle on the radio show next week, and the plan is to ask him about where are the new stars, where are the baby faces, how is TNA going to build? And the only way this thing can work is if they work with them and make some new thems to be they.
But they don't need any more theys with they.
But they need some thems to work with they.
Yeah, they need a
So
lot of
thems can become they.
No,
As big as they.
no, because if them is they, then you have way too many theys and not enough thems.
But right now, that's how it is. There are too many
Yeah.
heels, not enough faces in TNA.
You know-
Who are the top faces in TNA right now? Who are the people who can battle for TNA against
Ken
they?
Anderson,
Okay, Anderson 1,
Pope,
Pope 2,
Joe,
Joe 3,
RVD,
RVD 4.
Amazing Red. EV2. I don't know. What else do you want after that? There's 4.
Sting apparently taking some time off. Kurt Angle seemingly retired.
Kevin
I mean, he got
Nash is
destroyed last
gone.
night.
You know what? It just dawned on me. Do you know what would have made Bound for Glory better? Would be to have Impact on Monday nights.
Mhm.
While everything is still hot, boom, you go into Monday night. Now we had to wait. We had to wait 4 days.
Yeah. But I think I don't understand why Fortune and they have combined, and all of a sudden it's like the NWO at the end.
Well, is they gonna feud with Fortune?
No, because Hogan and Flair embraced.
Yeah, that's why they combined. They can't have 2 heel factors battling each other.
But doesn't that dilute they?
Here's what bothers me. Hogan says he was sold a bad bill of goods or whatever bill of goods. He just buried everybody in TNA.
No, he buried Dixie.
He buried the
Better or
talent.
worse than Tommy Dreamer when he said that the ECW reminiscent, or the ECW Third Rate
The
pay-per-view
bill
was
of
raising the
goods
bar.
is the talent in TNA.
No, it's the state of the company.
The goods are the
If it were the talent in TNA,
Look
then
at you
what?
spinning for Hogan.
No, if it were the talent in
Chris
TNA, then
Hansen.
how could Jeff Hardy be the focal point of they? Because he was one part of that bill of goods.
No, he wasn't. He came in after Hogan took over.
But when Hogan took that was yes, but he's been there since January.
You know, the chair does spin around if you want to go right ahead.
How dare you accuse me of spitting?
That's what you're doing.
It's all out there. I'm just telling you the
I wouldn't
truth.
raise your voice. Cause could be somewhere. Don't let them know where we are.
Jeff Hardy came in January 4th. Okay, that was the big launch. That was Hogan's debut.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So he's part of that bill of goods.
No. He's part of the Hogan era of TNA. Damien, pay attention.
What about Abyss?
Yeah.
That's if you ever watch. You remember Crossfire on CNN?
I don't watch CNN. Fox News.
Abyss
Did you see the miners?
on CNN. Yeah, they had a whole little square on all day. Abyss,
They put
Old
the miners
school.
in a box?
they were already in a box, but they put a box on the screen so we can see them getting freed from their box. Abyss, old school TNA, original TNA.
Yes.
Focal point since Hogan came in. Now a focal point
Hogan's
today.
chosen one. But now they align themselves with Fortune.
AJ Styles, Kaz, Matt Morgan, all
Hold
part
on.
of Fortune.
Stop.
I'm
Fortune. It was a big part of the original TNA. And now they're with Hogan. But he says it's a bad bill of goods. But now he has most of the bad bill of goods with him. It makes no sense right now. He should have kept his mouth shut. But
Madison
they need
Rayne.
more baby faces.
Madison Rayne is the new TNA Knockouts champion.
Wow.
Just like that.
At least she's a brunette kind of right now. That helps.
You also didn't like the MCMG versus Jin Me match.
No, I thought it was good, but they just threw way too much stuff in the match. I mean, slow it down.
But it was the opener. Don't you want to get the crowd going?
You can get the crowd going by giving them 70% of what they gave them.
Fair enough. Eric Young and Orlando Jordan versus Inc. Eric Young attacks Orlando Jordan.
I'm not.
He
gonna
brings the
comment.
rule book
I'm-
down to the
I'm
ring.
not going to comment on this match. It's ridiculous. That was, you know what? I like Eric Young. He's talented. That was a favor for him to give him a payday pay-per-view.
Team 3D announces that they are going to retire. However, they want one more match, and they want that match to be with the Motor City Machine Guns. A hard sell by Taz and Mike Tenay at ringside. I like the way this story is building. What reason
Why?
does the Motor City Machine Guns have to accept that matchup?
Why would they? I'd be like, hey,
See ya.
yeah, go ahead. Goodbye. Who wants to go through a table? You know? And that takes tag team wrestling back. It goes backwards with that match. Do you honestly think Bubba Ray and Devon are going to want to put over that young team that's smaller than them?
In their last match, no.
Oh, of course not.
TNA Bound for Glory this past Sunday
I've
on
heard
pay-per-view.
that Bubba Ray got himself in a little bit of trouble the night before BFG.
Did he show his ass?
No.
That's a figurative term.
No. But I'm curious to see how this is going to play out.
It's time for some viewer mail. Let's go to Linda Kay.